The classroom hummed with the quiet buzz of anticipation as the Galactic Concorde's Interstellar Exchange program entered its most eagerly awaited session yet. Students of all species, hailing from the most serene garden worlds to the harshest volcanic moons, filled the amphitheater. Each carried the weight of their cultures, their bodies shaped by the environments they called home. Among them were humans, the so-called Deathworlders, who sat with easy confidence at the back of the room. The program had been ambitious, aiming to foster understanding among the diverse races of the galaxy. For the most part, it worked. Over weeks of shared lessons and social exchanges, the alien students had come to appreciate the humans' ingenuity, though not without occasional unease at their casual recounting of life-threatening dangers. The humans, in turn, marveled at the beauty and ingenuity of the peaceful worlds their classmates described. But today was different. Today, the focus wasn't on theory or historical exchange. It was on something far more tangible. The instructor, a stately Itharakian whose translucent skin glimmered faintly under the room's lights, raised a segmented hand for silence. Today, it announced, its voice resonating softly in the room, we explore one of the most intimate aspects of life on your worlds, the creatures with which we share our homes. Show us what makes your planets unique, and, in turn, what defines your species' relationship with life itself. A ripple of excitement passed through the students. Containers, carrying cases and biocubes appeared on desks. The alien students leaned forward eagerly, while the humans exchanged knowing looks. One, a woman with curly dark hair and a confident smile, nudged her classmate. This is going to be interesting. The first demonstration began, and all eyes turned to a Deltrian student whose long, sinuous body rippled as they gestured toward a floating sphere of soft, glowing light contained in a suspension field. This is a Glinthra, the Deltrian said proudly, native to the lavender seas of my homeworld. Its light guides travelers safely through the mist. The room oohed and awed as the Glinthra shimmered, its bioluminescence pulsing gently. One by one, the alien students unveiled their offerings, ethereal creatures, delicate plants, and even a small, translucent jellyfish-like entity that produced soothing harmonic tones. Each exhibit spoke of worlds designed for peace, where life evolved without predation or constant danger. The humans watched with genuine curiosity, though the corners of their mouths twitched with amusement. When it was finally their turn, the room stilled. There was a tension, a collective intake of breath, as the Itharakian gestured to the humans. Let us see what the Deathworlders have brought, it said with a note of apprehension. The first human, a tall man with a wiry build and a playful grin, strode to the front. He placed a glass terrarium on the desk, its interior dark and faintly menacing. At first, the other students saw nothing unusual, just a tangle of branches and leaves. Then the creature moved. 8 legs, covered in fine hairs, emerged from the shadows, followed by a body that gleamed like obsidian. This, the man began, is a tarantula. It's a spider from Earth. Venomous, sure, but only mildly so. Well, for us. He chuckled at the horrified murmurs spreading through the room. It's a vital part of our ecosystem. Keeps pests in check, and honestly, it's fascinating to watch. The alien students recoiled. The Deltrian clutched their Glinthra protectively, while a feathered Nivlorn let out a soft squawk. You keep that in your homes? One student finally blurted, their voice thick with disbelief. Some of us do, the man replied, his tone light but tinged with pride. We respect it. Life on Earth is a balance of risk and reward. You learn to live alongside things that can hurt you. Another human stepped forward, this one carrying a small cage. She opened it, and out stepped a bird with sharp talons and eyes like molten gold. It spread its wings, letting out a piercing cry that echoed through the room. This is a hawk, she said, stroking the bird's feathers. A predator, yes, but also a partner. Humans have worked with animals like this for centuries, training them, hunting with them. They're not just dangerous. They're intelligent. The aliens stared, their faces a mix of awe and alarm. One Itharakian's translucent skin flickered faintly, a sign of stress. Predators' partners, they muttered, as if the words themselves were an affront to logic. It wasn't until the third human stepped forward that the tension in the room reached its peak. She led a creature on a leash, a beast of rippling muscle, sharp teeth, and an air of regal dominance. The aliens gasped, several taking instinctive steps back. This, the woman said with quiet pride, is a wolf. Well, not quite. This one's a domesticated descendant, what we call a dog. Humans and wolves formed a bond thousands of years ago. We hunt together, protect each other, and over time, became inseparable. She crouched beside the animal, scratching behind its ears. The wolf dog let out a low, contented rumble. A feathered Nivlorn stammered. You willingly coexist with predators like that? Yes, the woman replied simply. We don't see them as just predators. They're family. The room erupted into hushed, frantic conversation. Aliens whispered in their native tongues, their voices tinged with disbelief and a trace of fear. Humans, on the other hand, sat back in their seats, watching the reactions with amused detachment. They had anticipated this. The Itharakian instructor raised its hand again, silencing the room. Fascinating, it said, though its tone betrayed discomfort. Humans, your relationship with your world's creatures is unlike anything I've seen. You have learned not only to survive, but to thrive among such dangers. This speaks volumes about your species. The humans exchanged subtle smiles, but the aliens were less at ease. To them, the humans' pets weren't companions. They were nightmares made flesh, creatures that should be avoided, not embraced. As the session concluded, the tension remained thick in the air. The aliens filed out of the room in clusters, their movements jittery, while the humans lingered, chatting among themselves. One alien student hesitated by the door, stealing a glance back at the humans and their pets. There was fear in their eyes, but also something else, a glimmer of reluctant admiration. It was clear that today's lesson had been more than just a showcase of fauna. It had revealed a stark truth about humanity, their capacity to not only survive but to find beauty and partnership in the midst of danger. And for better or worse, that truth had left an indelible impression on everyone present. The room's uneasy energy lingered as the humans returned to their seats, their pets now settled but far from forgotten. The alien students exchanged nervous glances, their voices low as they processed what they had just witnessed. Each creature the humans introduced had been more unsettling than the last, and the humans' apparent ease around such dangers had sparked an undercurrent of apprehension. The Itharakian instructor, though visibly unsettled, resumed the lesson with professional composure. Thank you, humans, for your demonstrations, it said, its voice steady but its glow slightly dimmed. Now, let us take a step back and discuss what we've observed. How do these relationships reflect your species' survival strategies and cultural values? A Nivlorn raised one feathered arm, their normally melodic voice trembling. I do not understand. How can you trust creatures with claws, teeth, and venom? To us, they are predators, dangers to be avoided. Yet you call them companions. The human with the wolf dog spoke first, her voice calm yet firm. It's about mutual respect. These animals aren't just predators. They're survivors, like us. Over generations, we learned to work together. They protect us, and we protect them. It's a partnership, but they could turn on you at any moment. An Itharakian interjected, its shimmering skin rippling faintly. Surely you can't predict their every action. That's true, another human admitted, their tone thoughtful. But that's part of the bond. Trust isn't about eliminating risk. It's about understanding it and choosing to face it anyway. On Earth, danger is everywhere. If you avoided everything that might harm you, you'd never leave your home. The room fell silent, the weight of the words settling heavily over the alien students. For most of them, the idea of willingly coexisting with such danger was incomprehensible. Their worlds were places of balance and harmony, where ecosystems thrived without the constant threat of violence. The human's perspective seemed almost reckless by comparison, and yet there was a strange logic to it. One of the Deltrians, their body glistening faintly, leaned forward, their voice cautious but curious. You speak as though danger is a constant presence for you. Is this what defines Deathworlders? This resilience? The human with the hawk nodded. It's not just resilience. It's adaptability. We've had to learn from the creatures around us. How they hunt, how they defend themselves, how they survive. Earth is a place that forces you to evolve, to think, to adapt. These animals taught us as much as we taught them. The Itharakian instructor tapped its desk lightly, drawing attention. Let us focus on the implications. How has this relationship shaped your culture? Your technology? Your way of thinking? The humans exchanged glances. Then the man with the tarantula spoke up. It's everywhere. From how we build our homes to how we approach conflict. Even our stories reflect it. Tales of wolves teaching us to hunt, birds guiding us to water, even spiders inspiring us to weave. The natural world isn't just something we survive. It's something we learn from. The aliens listened intently, their initial horror softening into something more complex. There was still unease, but also a growing fascination. The human's perspective was alien in itself, a mindset forged in the crucible of a dangerous world. Then, as if to remind everyone of that danger, the wolf dog stirred, letting out a low, rumbling growl. The sound was subtle, but it sent a shiver through the room. The humans remained unfazed, the woman at its side calming it with a quiet word. But the aliens were not so composed. A few recoiled, their fear reignited. See, a Nivlorn said sharply, their feathers bristling. Even now, it's unpredictable. How can you live like this? The human woman's expression softened, but there was steel in her voice. We live like this because we have to, because the alternative is stagnation. We take risks, we form bonds, and yes, sometimes things go wrong. But it's those challenges that push us forward. The Itharakian observed the exchange carefully, its translucent skin glowing faintly. This is a stark contrast to the rest of us. Most of our species evolved in environments where cooperation with such dangerous creatures would be unthinkable. It is remarkable that you have not only survived, but thrived under these conditions. It's not just survival, the human with the hawk added. It's about finding beauty in the struggle. These animals, yes, they're dangerous, but they're also incredible. They've taught us courage, loyalty, and how to persevere. You might see predators. We see partners. The aliens fell silent again, their minds grappling with this unfamiliar perspective. They had been raised to see the universe in terms of safety and balance. Yet here were beings who embraced chaos and danger as part of their existence. It was unsettling, yes, but also undeniably compelling. The Itharakian turned its gaze to the other students. Does anyone have further questions or observations? Adeltrian hesitated, then spoke, their voice quiet but resolute. Perhaps there is something we can learn from this. We see danger as a threat, but you see it as an opportunity. It is a difficult concept, but not without merit. The humans smiled, their expressions a mix of pride and relief. For all the fear and tension, the conversation was shifting. Understanding, however tentative, was beginning to take root. As the session drew to a close, the instructor stepped forward, its tone solemn. Today's lesson has been illuminating. It is not often we encounter a perspective so vastly different from our own. Humans, your resilience and adaptability are traits we can all learn from. And perhaps, in time, we will come to understand your bonds with these creatures as more than mere curiosities. The humans nodded, their respect evident. The wolf dog let out a soft, contented sigh, as if sensing the tension ebbing away. As the students filed out of the room, the air buzzed with quiet conversation. The humans walked together, their pets in tow, while the alien students watched from a cautious distance. There was still fear, yes, but also something new, a spark of admiration, a willingness to see the humans not as reckless Deathworlders, but as beings who had carved a place for themselves in a universe that demanded strength and ingenuity. The day was over, but its impact lingered. For the humans, it was a chance to show the galaxy what made them unique. For the aliens, it was a glimpse into a world where danger was not just an obstacle, but a teacher. And for all of them, it was a reminder that understanding often begins where comfort ends. The hallways outside the classroom buzzed with conversation as students from across the galaxy processed what they had just witnessed. For many of the alien students, the humans' display was a revelation, a window into a world so fundamentally different from their own that it bordered on incomprehensible. Yet, beneath the lingering unease, curiosity flickered. One of the Deltrians, their shimmering body shifting hues of soft green and amber, lingered near the door. They watched as the humans walked past, their predators calmly trailing beside them or carried in cases designed to hold creatures far more docile. "You don't fear them?" the Deltrian asked, addressing no one in particular, but catching the attention of the woman with the wolf dog. The human stopped, her companion sitting obediently by her side. "Fear isn't the right word," she replied, her voice measured. "We respect them. Fear is what keeps you alive in the wild, but respect is what lets you thrive." The Deltrian hesitated, then tilted their head. "But surely respect cannot replace caution. What if they turn against you?" "They might," the human admitted, her honesty disarming. "But so could any ally, right? Trust is always a risk. The question is whether the bond you share makes that risk worth taking." The Deltrian mulled over the words, their bioluminescence dimming slightly as they fell into thought. The wolf dog, as if sensing the shift in mood, nudged its human's leg gently with its nose. She smiled, running her fingers through its thick fur. The moment was subtle, almost imperceptible, but it spoke volumes to the watching alien. Further down the corridor, another human was deep in conversation with a Nivlorn whose feathers were still puffed in residual agitation. "I suppose I understand the partnership in theory," the Nivlorn said, their tone edged with skepticism. "But the risks seem insurmountable. On our world, anything remotely dangerous is kept at a distance. How do you ensure your safety?" The human chuckled softly, shrugging. "We don't. Not completely. There's always a chance something could go wrong. But think about it, there's risk in everything. Even your Glinthra might fail to light the way one day, right?" The Nivlorn flinched at the suggestion, their feathers rippling uneasily. "That would be disastrous." "Exactly," the human replied. "But you trust it anyway. You prepare, you adapt, and you move forward. That's how we see it with our animals. It's not about avoiding danger. It's about managing it." The Nivlorn said nothing, their gaze shifting to the hawk perched on the human's gloved arm. The bird's sharp eyes scanned the corridor, its every movement precise, controlled. There was no denying its power, but there was also an elegance to it, a harmony born from understanding and mutual respect. Nearby, the Itharakian instructor observed the interactions, their luminous body casting soft reflections against the polished walls. The session had been unsettling, yes, but also enlightening. For all the fear the humans' creatures had inspired, the bonds they demonstrated spoke to a deeper truth about their species. It was a truth the instructor struggled to articulate, yet it resonated nonetheless. At last, the instructor stepped forward, addressing the humans directly. "Your relationships with these creatures are a testament to your adaptability. You see opportunity where others see only danger. It is a perspective that challenges the fundamental beliefs of many here. Yet, perhaps that is its greatest value." The humans exchanged glances, sensing the cautious approval in the Itharakian's words. One of them, the man with the tarantula, offered a small, appreciative nod. "We understand it's a lot to take in. For us, it's just life. But we get that it looks different from the outside." "Different is an understatement," the Itharakian replied, though there was no malice in their tone. "But perhaps it is a difference worth exploring. After all, it is through such exchanges that we grow." The humans smiled, their pride tempered by the awareness of the unease they had stirred. For all their confidence in their way of life, they respected the perspectives of their classmates. They knew their lessons were not easily absorbed, especially by those who had never faced the kind of challenges Earth demanded daily. As the group began to disperse, the Deltrian approached the human woman again, their hesitation giving way to tentative curiosity. "May I touch it?" they asked, gesturing to the wolf dog with a tremor in their voice. The human crouched beside her companion, stroking its fur to reassure it. Of course, just move slowly and let it get used to you first. The Deltrian extended a cautious appendage, their bioluminescence flickering nervously. The wolf dog sniffed curiously, then licked the glowing surface. The Deltrian flinched at the contact, but did not retreat. Slowly, their glow steadied, shifting to a soft gold. "It is warm," they said, marveling at the sensation. "Warm and loyal," the humans said with a grin. "Once they trust you, they'll stand by you no matter what." The Deltrian pulled back, their glow intensifying. "Perhaps there is more to this bond than I understood. I will consider it further." The human nodded, understanding the significance of the admission. Small as it was, it marked the beginning of a shift, a bridge forming between two vastly different worlds. As the day wound down and the students drifted to their respective quarters, the atmosphere was subtly changed. The alien students still carried traces of unease, but they also bore the first seeds of understanding. The humans, for their part, felt a quiet satisfaction. They had shown their classmates a glimpse of what it meant to be a Deathworlder, not just the dangers they faced, but the strength they derived from them. In the quiet of the Itharakian's office, the instructor reflected on the day's events. The humans' presentations had been disruptive, even alarming, yet they carried undeniable value. In their creatures, the instructor saw more than predators. They saw reflections of the humans themselves, resilient, adaptable, and fiercely bonded to those they trusted. Perhaps the galaxy had much to learn from these Deathworlders after all.